Hey fam, welcome back to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Chef Fran. But first, give me a virtual hug by hitting the subscribe button. And in return, I will give you a new recipe every week. My name is Chef Fran and my guest sous chef today is Mrs. Rachel. Say hi, Mrs. Rachel.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. Let me tell you, Mrs. Rachel is someone extremely important to my nonprofit and to my life. I have to be honest with you, especially with this health crisis that we have gone through, my nonprofit would not have survived without her volunteering, and she's been a volunteer for me for 8 years. You hear that, guys? 8 years faithfully. And if you notice, the foods that we're eating are special to her dietary needs. She has an autoimmune disease that she could tell you a little bit more about, and so I'm gonna let her tell you.
Thank you. I've been working with Chef Fran for, like she said, 8 years. I originally started out as a recipient where I would receive the food on distribution days, and being a public service employee, I have time off in the summer where I then started volunteering. And once I started volunteering, I never stopped. One thing that has happened over the last 8 years with being with Chef Fran is that I've been diagnosed with multiple autoimmune disorders. In the process of going through all the doctor visits and the specialized diets, the amount of food and what you can eat is severely restricted depending upon what type of autoimmune disorder you have. As in my case, I've gone from eating this many things to this many things to this many things. And that is very hard to shop for, because usually when you get down to that limited amount, it's usually the expensive items that you are allowed to eat. Whereas the average person can have pasta. I am unable to have pasta. Pasta is a great meal stretcher, and unfortunately I am not one of those that can do that.
Well, you can have gluten-free. I
can have gluten-free. I will admit gluten-free is an adventure by itself, and I have been so blessed by being with Chef Fran because she's always made sure that I have had what I've needed to meet my dietary needs, and I am so grateful for that.
I just want to tell you quickly what we have here on deck real quick. We have our sweet potatoes that has already been cut up and cooked up in our chicken broth. We have our cream, our evaporated milk and cream that's going to go with our butter. That's going to go inside our mashed sweet potatoes. And here we have some pork chops that I've already kind of seasoned already with my special blend seasoning. And we have our onions and garlic, and we have our green beans, and we have our apples, our Granny Smith apples, which you know has a lot less sugar than your Washington or your Fiji or your pink gala. So that's gonna actually get cooked with our pork chops. Miss Rachel can have that, so that's so fun. And we have our spices that's gonna go with that, which is some of our nutmeg and our cinnamon and our chipotle and a special little sweet spice called cardamom. And for dessert, yeah, our dessert is a little different because Miss Rachel explained to you because her dietary needs. So there's no cake here, there's no ice cream. It's actually ricotta cheese, which she can have, some raspberries, some blueberries, chocolate syrup, some chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips, and some balsamic glaze. And we're gonna come back and get our vitamin content. Here's our vitamin content. So Mrs. Rachel's now gonna spray her pan with her EVOO, extra virgin olive oil, so she can cook her pork chops. Okay, so she can sear it a little bit. Okay.
Thank you.
So we're just gonna get a little mark color here, just sear it real quick, not fully cook it. We're gonna actually bake it. And we're gonna add a little butter. Good butter.
Thank you.
So she can add with her, I'm going to get off of it. And cook her little apple here. I'm going to get some little spices going on.
Lay them flat.
Yes, lay them flat.
Thank you.
told Mrs. Rachel, you know, you have to put your little bit, take a pinch of your cinnamon and just kind of spread it around. And you're going to do the same thing for your nutmeg. Just a little pinch of that, not all of it, of chipotle for on your apples.
Just to give it a little heat.
Yes.
Go ahead and flip the other one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's go around those good old apples. Good old apples. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna prepare normally you do this with parchment paper, but I want to make sure that the pork doesn't overcook and stay moist. So I'm gonna prepare almost like a bag, so to speak. It's actually a French technique, just to kind of like lock in the moisture. So here's the technique. What we did was put a little bit of chicken broth on the bottom and all the goodness that was in the pan, all the drippings that was originally in the pan. And the apples on top of the pork chop will also help it to remain moist. And so we don't have a dried out pork chop and the liquid on the bottom as well. And so the goal here is that you want to seal up your pork chops on the side. Now be careful, it's almost like you're pressure cooking this. So you don't want to just open up. When you pull it from the oven, we're gonna bake it on 350 for 15 minutes. All right, Miss Rachel's gonna be putting in our hot sweet potato in our mixer. Here's a nice slice of butter.
Thank you. Guys, I'm doing 2 full loaves. How's that?
Okay,
Because I've got tiny hands.
Yeah. One of those. So this is some of our cream, and we're gonna eyeball it.
Thank you.
Now when you're cooking at home, just eyeball it. If you like your sweet potato a little bit more liquefied, then you add more. If you like it a little bit more thickness, then you add less. In our pan, Miss Rachel just sauteing some of the onion, the garlic, some bacon, because Miss Rachel's my bacon sister. We got the real deal in here today with our green beans and our onion and our garlic and some butter. Add a little nutmeg, a little love. A little love cinnamon as well. I know most people don't do that either. But let me tell you, it's some goodness in this. A little love of your black pepper. Okay? And a little love of your Himalayan salt. Okay. And here are a list of ingredients. Well, Mrs. Rach, look at here, look at here, look at here what we have. Bon appetit.
I like it. It gives it a little exotic flavor.
Mm-hmm. That sweet potato mash. Delicious with the spices of cardamom. Green beans are super crisp. Well, Rach, here we're having ricotta cheese with some blueberries, raspberries, because Rachel can't have strawberries actually. Raspberry, she can't have nuts, but I gotta get the crunch. So it was either get the crunch of the bacon, and I really could have put bacon on here now, or I got the crunch of the peanuts with the ricotta cheese, and we have some balsamic glaze with some chocolate syrup and some dark chocolate. And so we're gonna give this a go. So good. Better than ice cream. Bye guys, love you.